first cup of coffee, real cup of coffee right here. Another Italian sweet cream. Are you guys like me and you kind of get on a kick with different coffee? Because that's what's going on for me right now. And this is my kick right now. Italian sweet cream. All right, I'm going to put my cute little flowery coffee cup down and grab my Archetype cards. And let's see what we've got in here today. All right. Okay. So with these, it's a huge deck. So usually instead of shuffling, I just go like this until I feel it. Okay, it's this one. And remember, if it's an archetype that we've already done, I'm going to talk about how it's relevant right now on this. Okay, you guys, it is the vampire. Now, we just did a whole thing on this. And I've had a lot of feedback about this one. I've had a lot of people messaging me, talking to me about how do I know if I have some of this. I recognized a little bit of myself in this. So here's where we're going to go with this, because this is the piece that I think a lot of people, including myself, do have. So this is what I'm going to say is relevant about the vampire archetype, considering all the energy that's out there right now. One of the main attributes of the vampire in the shadow is a lack of accountability and awareness. It's like they are unable to look at the results of their life and see what they have to do with it. It almost feels like very random to them, right? That they would have this. So here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to turn, this is going to be a combo, you guys. This is going to be a combo of a surprise archetype and a call to action. You ready for this? Because the call to action I see that could really benefit all of us in coming out of any little tiny piece of the vampire shadow is to, every single time that you feel like somebody has done you wrong, somebody or something. This is the time of year when all over social media is the statuses about how bad 2018 sucked. Now, I have some pretty amazing friends on my timeline, and a lot of them are able to take the blessings and the gifts and the lessons, and I love that. But you know what I'm talking about. You know the posts that are going to come up. Oh, 2018 was so awful. And there's almost this energy where people feel like they were victimized by a year or by the government, right? By Trump, by religion, by their spouse, by society. And I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to do this myself, anytime it comes up for you, so you've got to have the awareness. You've got to be able to recognize when you're feeling this way. Okay? Remember how closely intertwined the victim and the vampire are. So because one of the things that sucks the life out of you being around the vampire is how victimized they feel all the freaking time. So when any of this comes up in you, you start to get that feeling of blame. You start to get that feeling of I didn't do this. It's not me. I don't have anything to do with this. And I'm not asking you to take accountability for other people, but you still have accountability for your life, right? If you're surrounded by shitty people, whose responsibility is it to change that? It's not your responsibility to make sure that they turn into totally different people, because you can't do that. But you definitely can get away from it and start to extricate yourself from that. So, call to action. Anytime that we feel like we're blaming something outside of ourselves, and it's time to look at an action you can take. This isn't to look at how this is your fault. It's going, what is an action I can take to make this healthier or more workable or more fun? Those are the three questions. Call to action. Anytime you feel like you're blaming something outside of yourself for something sucking, looking at these three things. How can I make this more healthy? How can I make this more workable? How can I make this more fun? And then do that. because I'm telling you right now, that will totally start to clear the shadow of the vampire. If you even have a tiny little bit of that in you, any tiny little bit, and you start taking action towards what will make your life, your relationships, your job, your anything, your family, more healthy, more workable, and more fun, and you are willing to take that on yourself. It's not about taking blame. It's about taking the blame. It's about taking responsibility and do something about it. That is going to get rid of the shadow of the archetype. That's what brings the vampire archetype into the light, is the awareness and then the taking accountability and taking action. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm committing to this right now. Officially on film, I'm committing to doing this. So who's willing to do this with me? And if you have some ideas about how you notice that you are in that mode where you're blaming something outside of yourself, or actually blaming anything, including yourself, right? Victim, martyr, either way, it's not powerful. For me, I notice a frustration. Frustration is usually the emotion I notice, and then I'll realize there's thoughts behind there like, this always happens to me. So-and-so is doing this to me. And I have noticed that when I get in those modes and I'm talking to a friend and I'm venting about that, they seem to get very tired very quickly because I'm vampiring their energy. Okay, so that's where we're going to go with this today. This is a really good way to use the current energy because we've talked about this several times, you guys. The current energy is asking us to let go of anything that is not serving our highest good right now. What cannot come with us to the leveling up and the next step of our lives? Well, obviously that mentality that our power is outside of us cannot come with us if we're going to level up. Okay? And for those of you that are like, I cannot see where I've done anything. Okay, let that be, because sometimes trying to understand it all can be a distraction, and just take an action that makes the situation more healthy, more workable, and or more fun. Does that make sense? All right, this is going to be a pretty simple, but not necessarily easy, but pretty straightforward call to action today based on that surprise archetype. You guys, the fact that out of 80 cards, the vampire comes up again when we spent so much time on it means that there's still something to be learned by getting rid of any of the, I'm not going to say getting rid of, bringing light into that shadow, turning on the switch and illuminating what's there. Okay, as usual, I'd love to hear from you. Who is taking this on with me? Who's willing to take this on? I'm 100% in, and you guys can keep me accountable. All right, I love you. May your coffee be strong and your life be blessed. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. It really helps out my channel. And if you would be interested in working with me further, you can check out DawniAngel.com. I would love to come speak to your group, come to your business to do a training, be on your podcast, my personal favorite, or even work with you one-on-one.